So the iPhone 17, the Pro and Pro Max, and the iPhone Air are now available for pre-order. But which one is actually worth it? Like, which one should you actually get? I'm going to break down in detail all the details about which one is the best one for you to choose. So let's go ahead and figure that out in this video. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. And let's go ahead and just begin first of all with the 17 Pro Max. So you can see here we're on the Apple Store application. You do have three different colors: silver, cosmic orange, and deep blue. And this thing starts at $11.99 for the 6.9-inch display. Now, I had the 16 Pro Max last year and I've covered it multiple times here. And what you're going to see is they do have very nice and thin bezels for this phone. And it's going to carry over to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. There are going to be several people that this phone is going to be very, very good for, this iPhone 17 Pro Max. So let's go ahead and look at the AR version of this, and we'll kind of go see and take a look at this right here. So let me talk about the very first one, and that is if you're coming from something like an iPhone 11 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max, this larger iPhone is going to be good in pretty much every way. We'll talk about the very first reason, and that is going to be the cameras are going to be upgraded in pretty much every way, shape, and form for this iPhone. You're going to get 48 megapixel cameras across the board there. And also you're going to get yourself this action button right here. If we go ahead and scroll over here to the bottom, you'll get yourself USB-C down there. And then on the right side here, you're going to get yourself the camera control button. Now also, why this phone is going to be very good for you is they actually use an aluminum enclosure on here. So the whole phone is aluminum, unlike my 16 Pro Max, which is titanium over here. They also have a dedicated thermal system in there. So you will actually have much better heat. So for the people who are really going to benefit from the 17 Pro Max are going to be these type of users. Number one, if you are, again, one of the older 11 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max users, you will be getting upgrades in every area, including the cameras, just like the 16 Pro Max. So get yourself camera control. You're going to get much faster performance. You're going to get a bigger battery. And if those people out there who can't stand heat issues on their phone, the 16 Pro Max is for you. Also, big phone lovers that are okay with sacrificing a little bit of thickness instead of having a super razor thin phone like this S25 Edge over here, which is similar to an iPhone Air, you're okay with a little bit more thickness on your phone, then I think the 17 Pro Max is 100% for you. You want the biggest and baddest iPhone on the block, that's the one for you. And also, I should mention, if you're coming from a larger premium Android phone and you want to come to iPhone, you've had enough of Android, or you just want to switch over from something like Samsung or Google Pixel or something like that, you have an XL, you have an Ultra, you want to try iPhone, the Max again is for you. You're not going to want to get something smaller and feel like you made a mistake. So if you find yourself resonating with anything I just said right there, just go ahead and order the Max. Now the color is really going to be subjective to what you like, but just go ahead and pick up the Max. It's going to be the phone for you. Let's go over and switch over and talk about the smaller iPhone 17 Pro. Now, I've actually been using as my main phone for the past several months the iPhone 16 Pro, which I absolutely love. And it's one of the reasons, this phone is one of the reasons why I actually love the base 17 this year. And I'll talk about why in a minute. But back to the 17 Pro, this one's pretty easy. If you loved everything I said about the larger 17 Pro Max, then the 17 Pro is definitely going to be the phone for you. Right here, you could see in this object AR they have on the website that the phone itself just kind of looks basically the same, just a little bit smaller. You get all the same features, including the action button. You get yourself the triple 48 megapixel. You do get yourself the USB-C on here as well. If you haven't had one of the USB-C iPhones yet, it's going to be a good option. But if you just want a more pocketable camera phone, like really good cameras, that's what I loved about the 16 Pro. You can take amazing photos in a more manageable size. Also, I find that with these, 16 Pro, 17 Pros, these smaller sizes at 6.3 inches, they give you enough screen for your day-to-day operations while not, overbearing you with the, size. So you kind of get all the same fun stuff that you'll get on the big phone and just a much easier to use day-to-day size. So that's something I think, if that's you, if you find yourself resonating with that, this phone is for you. Also, if you just don't have big hands, this is going to be a good phone for you. And I actually have pretty big hands, but still, I like one-handing a phone. And this one was better to me than the 16 Pro Max for one-handing it. However, there is one con of getting something like the base 16 Pro, and that's going to be that with this base 16 Pro, of course, it's just basic physics. You cannot get a larger battery in there than you can on this giant 16 Pro Max or 17 Pro Max. So you will sacrifice a little bit of battery life, but it's nothing substantial. What you will do is you're going to pay less money. You're going to pay $100 less. And while this phone is the same price, it's not the same starting price because they ditched the 128 gigs. So you actually are going to pay $100 more than last year to get the cheapest version of the 17 Pro at $1099. But it's not that much. And by the way, you probably need 256 gig. It's 2025, 128 gig. Just feels rather small. And when it comes to the actual colors, again, that's personal preference. I personally like the silver and the orange. Deep blue is also pretty nice. And I said in my initial video I didn't like the orange, but I'm kind of switching gears because it's starting to grow on me as I'm looking at it more. It kind of reminds me of Halloween season. So yeah, I'm kind of switching gears on my initial statements. I kind of do like the way it looks. And I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? The iPhones and the Pro line have never really popped. They're always like these very dull colors. So that orange is finally giving us something that is more saturated. Again, I would still prefer a red over the orange, but it's definitely quite a nice color. But yeah, 17 Pro, just went on a little tangent there. 17 Pro is the one for you if you want that comfortable size, great cameras, good battery that can last all day, but give you really great performance. 16 Pro is also going to be a great backup option if you want a Pro phone, but you don't want to pay the prices of the brand new ones. Copping these on a deal is going to be really good because the 16 lineup was pretty strong. Let's talk about the 17 now. The iPhone 17 for me is one of the most exciting of the year, and I'll tell you why. Everything that you wanted from an iPhone base model is finally here. You get to keep that base model pricing at $799. One thing I will tell you though is that the iPhone 17 is not actually $799 unless you are using a carrier. If you buy this unlocked, it's $829. So keep that in mind. It's $799 with a carrier or for 24 months over there payment plan. But you have lavender, you have sage, you have mist blue, white, and black. But what's nice is that at least they kept that starting price and doubled the storage. So that absolutely makes this the best value in the lineup. And I think Apple's predicting they're probably going to sell quite a few of these right here. And I think they will too. Now the color I actually pre-ordered was the sage color. So we're going to go and take a look at that. And I'll showcase it on the channel. But while it's not going to stand out as the most, in your face, cosmic orange, biggest and baddest iPhone out there, it does basically have the same look as the iPhone 16 while improving all the things that the base model doesn't really give us. And here it is. So the base model 16 gave us 6.1 inches. So the phone still, while it was changed, feels kind of like a 15, kind of feels still like a 14. Not so much a 14, more like a 15 and a 16. They kind of feel the same. But having the thinner bezels on the new phone, finally getting rid of the 60 hertz panel, which just feels so old at this point, is huge deal while having the same price. Also, finally, something I was complaining about for the past several years is the front-facing camera. Now, the front-facing camera, while it's been strong on these iPhones for a long time, they keep putting 12 megapixel. Finally, they gave us an 18 megapixel with the ability to go more landscape mode and give us more optionality for the front. So the front-facing camera is also a substantial improvement. This phone is also nowhere near as bright as the upcoming iPhone 17 at the same price. You're going to get 3,000 nits. This one I think was 2. So while this is still bright, it's nowhere near as bright as the new iPhone is coming for outdoor brightness. So if you find yourself outdoors in sunlight a lot, this is definitely going to be a big upgrade from older base model iPhones. Also, you'll notice there's no always on display option over here like we'll find on our Pro model devices over here on the right. So always on display is another big upgrade. And if you're coming from an older iPhone, you will have the same things that the 16 has if you skip this one, including the camera control. And while the camera control is something that Some people are saying, well, we don't need that button, it's just not intuitive. While I do agree with some of these features can be a little bit tricky to get used to, just using it as a general shutter key is actually very nice. Some people say, well, you can just program the action button. Here's the deal. Programming the action button, this is not in the place where I want a camera button. This is like a flashlight or a silent switch. Like this, no. This is on the left side. I think most people are right-handed. And even if you're not, even if you're left-handed, this is not where I would want a camera button. This is a silent switch area. So this is a very good location for that. And if you just use it just to take photos, I find myself not missing a lot of moments just because I can click that button really quickly. To me, it's a much faster, it's like muscle memory once you get used to it compared to swiping or holding this down. And plus, because it's a hardware-based key, you do have your ability to have less mistakes there. Although there was some initial bugs, they kind of fixed those already. USB-C also improves on the 17. I think they got a little bit faster charging as well. And they do have dual camera just like on this one, but it is an upgraded design that gives you the Fusion camera with, you know, way better usability out of that dual setup. So you're not going to get the longest zoom like you'll find on the newer, you know, iPhones on this one. You won't get the longest, but you'll get that clean iPhone 16 like design with most of what the iPhone 16 Pro offered last year. Yes, we'll get rid of one camera, but the phone is going to have the same 6.3 here. It's going to be a bit brighter than this 16 Pro with these beautifully thin bezels on board of this phone, and also be lighter than this phone. So I'm actually excited. I actually might be using the base 17 for a while as one of my main drivers. I'm going to try that one out to see how I like it, because I really like a light phone with good battery life, which that will have because it's not super thin, so I didn't have to super thin out the battery. I like thin bezels, and I really love good cameras, and that one seems to have it all. So there's nothing really like bad about the base model. It's just if you don't like, you like having a triple camera setup, that's really where the pros are really going to win out for you on the whole. So for me, the king of value this year is the iPhone 17 base. So that's my king of value so far. Now let's switch gears and talk about the very last one, and we'll give our thoughts on if you should buy the iPhone Air. Now you can go ahead and pre-order this one now as well. They're calling it the thinnest iPhone ever, and to me it does really remind me of their lineup of MacBook Airs and iPad Airs. They have similar colors: silver, sky blue, space black, like a black MacBook. I do like that black color. I ordered the sky blue, but I want to go see the black in person. I'll go check that one out, and if I end up liking that more, I might swap the sky blue. But for now, I went with the sky blue. But here's the deal with the iPhone Air. This one is a pretty different iPhone. You are going to have a pretty big camera area that's called this plateau over here. This is definitely going to stick off the body a bit, but you probably are going to put this in an Apple bumper case. But here's the deal with the iPhone Air. This one is pretty easy. If you want something that actually feels different from iPhones of the past years, you'll want this. This is going to feel super thin. It's going to feel like a feather in your pocket. It is the lightest iPhone of the bunch. I also personally think this is the best looking one. While I'm not a big major fan of how the plateau looks from this angle, I do believe that that single camera is one of the cleanest looks out there. It reminds me back in the day of the regular SE, the iPhone XR. Those phones were just clean, a clean, simple camera while having this modern look on the front. I also think that them having this action button on here, able to cram it in there and cram in the camera control over here, was also a pretty neat touch. Now, personally, like I ordered the $9.99 one, but you can get this thing all the way up to $13.99 for a 1 TB model. But here's the deal. The iPhone Air is going to be for those people who are okay with a little bit less battery life compared to a Max, but they want something super thin. Now, I also bought the Galaxy S25 Edge earlier this year, which is the main competitor to that phone. Samsung got theirs out first, and it's slightly thicker. It's like a 0.1 millimeters thicker. It's almost exactly the same thinness though. And let me tell you, I've been blown away with this like thin factor of these type of phones. They feel super light, but also large to hold. So if you wanted like a large phone, but you want it in a thin and light manageable size, the iPhone Air is going to be for you. Also, it has a 6.5, unlike this this Galaxy has like a 6.7, so it's going to be a little bit more of a sweet spot size for those of you who like a 6.5-inch phone. So wrapping it up here, again, I think the best model in the lineup here is going to be the base iPhone 17 for value. 17 Pro is really good for those of you who are going to use the Pro stuff. You need the best gaming, the best thermals, and the Air is definitely for those of you who want something different. So if you find yourself bored with iPhones, but you're still staying with iPhone, try the Air. I think you'll be happy. If you find yourself holding on to your base 12, 13 for all these years, you skip the 15, you skip the 16, and you're like, come on, Apple, give me my promotion, give me a good value on that cheaper iPhone. Get yourself the 17. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up here for me. I think this should have helped you kind of make a decision which one you resonated with the most here. So let me know if it did help you make that decision. If you already ordered your iPhone 17s, let's discuss them down below. I will be covering them when they arrive, just like you. I have to order them and wait for them. That's why we used the application to talk about it in these phones here. So stay tuned for that. I'll be covering all of them. It gets kicked off starting on September 19th. So be subscribed. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Let's chat about it. Have a great Sunday. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.